Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Alt Kings podcast. I'm your host, Tate, with my co-host, Corbin, and today we are diving into a coin that is right at 91 cents with a circulating supply of 6.63 billion tokens and is also ISO 20022 compliant.
But Tate, what is this coin you speak of?
This coin is, obviously you see in the thumbnail, Algorand.
Mm-hmm.
Quality coin, can't put it at that. Very self-sustaining, very decentralized, and is a blockchain-based network that supports a wide range of applications. These systems are secure, scalable, and efficient, all critical properties for effective applications in the real world. Algorand will support computations that require reliable performance, guarantees to create new forms of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting with that because, it's able to be ran or run any sort of application through the blockchain at a very scalable and resourceful manner.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be created as a DApp, but...
Yeah. But with DApps comes...
DApps are a separate thing because they're decentralized. So you don't have one company that's running the whole shindig.
You have a point.
Yeah.
But like we were discussing earlier, if one person was to get 51% of Algo supply, they could.
No, not Algo. Algo's different. We'll get into it later. But the Algorand mainnet became live in June of 2019 and was able to handle almost 1 million transactions per day as of December of 2020. And Algorand's initial coin offering, ICO, was held in June 2019 with a price of $2.40 per token.
That's rough.
Ouch!
Considering that we're sitting at 91 cents right now and we have yet to barely break that initial coin offering.
Its all-time high, which I will have here, is barely over 240.
I don't even think it's touched over 240, to be honest. I think it looks like it does on CoinMarketCap, but...
That's true. That happens from time to time. Yeah, I understand.
I don't even think it's touched it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's focused on a proof of stake architecture for its blockchain.
Yep. So who are the founders of Algorand, Tate?
So it's really interesting because their team has a lot of reputable people backing them. But the creator of Algorand is Silvio Macaulay. He is a professor of computer science at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. Yeah. And he is the founder of Algorand. He is not necessarily out of the picture right now, but he allows his CEO and COO to manage operations.
Okay.
So I'm guessing he still has say in what happens, but he's just focusing on his other things.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that it's easy being a professor of computer science at MIT, of all places.
One of the biggest Ivy League schools in the country. Sure. He won the Turing Award in 2012 for his fundamental contributions to the theory and practice of secure two-party computation, electric cash, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain protocols. And from what it seems, that Turing Award is a very special award not given to many people.
Mm-hmm. It's more of like a science accolade, right?
CEO is Steve Kokonos. He's responsible for overall business vision and strategy. And COO W. Sean Ford is responsible for go-to-market execution and operations, including product management, engineering, marketing, and global community development.
It's a lot of stuff you got to do as a chief operating officer.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in charge of all operations, there's a lot that goes into just that.
It's fair. The title actually,
means something.
Yeah. There was I remember there was a quote from Elon Musk. He was in an interview and he was like, "Yeah, most of the management and leadership positions at companies really don't matter. They're all fake."
No, yes.
And he had a list. I'll put that clip in here.
I mean, it's interesting that these titles. You know that there's actually only three titles that actually mean anything for a corporation. It's president, secretary, and treasurer. And technically, they could be the same person. And all these other titles are just basically made up. So CEO is a made-up title, CFO is a made-up title, general counsel, made-up title, don't mean anything.
It's a nice, I think a room of CEOs are how we feel about that. Yep.
It was like, obviously, just somebody's marketing experiment.
Besides, obviously, I mean, they're all just, at the end, they're all just names.
Yeah.
Like Elon, there was something I saw in the past. He was, instead of calling himself the CEO of Tesla, he was going to call himself it was like Internet King or something like that. It was something
meme lord of Tesla. I mean, I would love that. He totally could too if he wanted to.
Oh, you can change.
People would eat that up.
I mean, the money he has, he can do anything.
For sure.
But what makes Algorand unique, Corbin?
So Algorand has been carbon negative since 2021, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Love to see that. And Algorand was initially invented to speed up transactions and improve overall efficiency, which was in response to Bitcoin and other blockchains, Ethereum. Anyway, Algorand is designed so that there are lower transaction fees. So there's no mining like Bitcoin and Ethereum's proof of work blockchain system. It is instead based on a permissionless, pure proof of stake blockchain protocol.
Not just any proof of stake, a pure proof of stake.
Pure proof of stake, yes.
And I find it very amazing that they are carbon negative. Not carbon neutral, carbon negative. Mm-hmm. So they're actually producing carbon.
No, they're ingesting carbon. We want less carbon. Yeah.
So they're removing it
from
the atmosphere in ways. Yeah.
I don't know exactly how that works because Hedera is the same thing.
Because I've never seen something carbon negative though. I've never, and this is obviously the first of me hearing it, but I mean, I've always heard of something like carbon neutral, which that is zero carbon.
Yeah.
But
like cars, Teslas, they're carbon neutral.
Yeah.
Even though it takes so much carbon to build the batteries. Anyway.
They're getting better with that from what it seems.
Sure, but, slowly but surely.
Carbon is carbon still.
True. Yeah.
So this proof of stake, it's pure, as we've stated.
Really?
But each user's influence on the choice of a new blockchain is proportional to its stake, number of tokens in the system. Mm-hmm. So owning more grants you more voting rights than owning less.
Correct.
As it should.
Mm-hmm.
Users are randomly and secretly selected to propose blocks and vote on block proposals. That'd be interesting. Think about if you only had 10 algo and you got picked. So what do you want? What would you like our blockchain to do next?
Yeah.
And they give you a list of options and they're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah. I think it also goes into if there's a similar to how there can potentially be forks in Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff, instead of you voting on instead of the fork happening and then whichever one's the longest is the one that gets kept and the other one either dies or becomes a completely separate token. Instead, that if it happens at the same time, then whoever is tasked with voting at that time, I think, is the one that's tasked with picking whichever one is the correct one.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it really just comes down to who's the most active on the blockchain.
Yeah. I'm still, there's not a ton of information about how the voting architecture sort of works.
It's secret. From what they stated, secret.
It's not necessarily secret. I just think that information is kind of hard to find because I mean, what average Joe is going to go through and be like, oh, how does the voting consensus mechanism of Algorand work?
The alt kings.
It's fair. This is a fair point. Fair.
All online users have the chance to be selected to propose and vote. The likelihood that a user will be chosen and the weight of its proposals and votes are directly proportional to its stake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Algorand's pure proof of stake approach ties the security of the whole economy to the honesty of the majority of the economy, rather than that of a small subset of the overall economy of Algorand. And the system is secure when most of the money is in honest hands. So with other approaches, there is a small subset of the economy that determines the security of the whole economy, which means just a few users can prevent other users from transacting. So that could be, you know, like you said earlier, with potentially owning 51% of that, having all of the voting rights would then, you know, potentially make it centralized.
You could limit
Yeah.
who has access to
Yeah.
the network.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see, in Algorand, it is impossible for the owners of a small transaction of the money to harm the whole ecosystem. And it would be foolish for the owners of the majority of the money to misbehave, as it would diminish the currency's purchasing power and ultimately devalue their own assets. And at the current market cap it's at, you know, you're putting billions of dollars into that if you're trying to be this nefarious party that's trying to...
To get majority of the circulating supply, you need at least over, I believe, it was $3.3 billion.
Too much money.
Which, I mean, there's people out there who have that money and that power.
Sure.
But they're not thinking of taking over Algorand's blockchain.
No, and it would honestly be foolish of them, because if people found out that, hey, somebody owns all of the Algorand or most of it, then, you know, people are going to be like, okay,
yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah,
and then tanks.
That's what I'm right now. What's going through my head is the ICO.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if that's kind of what happened in the beginning?
It's a potential, yeah, because
the price tanked from $2.40 all the way down to sub 50 cents.
Yeah, which is brutal.
In the span of just a couple months.
That was a couple days. It wasn't a super long amount of time.
No.
It was pretty short.
Let's see. On it shortly. So, initial coin offering was in June of 2019.
Yeah, in about 2 months it was below 50 cents.
Yeah. Just about 2 months. In 2 months it went down to 30 cents.
Nice. Nice.
Oh my goodness.
But I mean, like, to be fair, like, crypto is one of the most volatile spaces that
100%.
you can possibly invest into outside of penny stocks. So, you know.
Penny stocks are even more probably volatile. Penny stocks are honestly probably more volatile than the crypto market.
Oh yeah.
Because the lack of liquidity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you happen to buy like a huge bag and pump the price and you tell all your friends to buy it and then you sell, I mean, there's a lot of regulations around doing that. So, you know.
Well, I mean, I don't see it. There's nothing wrong with buying a big bag of a penny stock and the price does go up and then you tell your friends and it continues to rise a little bit, then you sell. You're just getting taxed on it in a short period of time.
How is that not a bad thing? That means now all of your friends are bag holding.
It's a terrible thing, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's illegal. Just because you're just buying a stock and then selling it.
I'm pretty sure that's how Jordan Belfort initially made his money.
Was from...
Because you saw The Wolf of Wall Street, right?
From hedging a bunch of investors.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because he went to that super, like, rough... Well, not necessarily rough, but, like, more low-key sort of brokerage firm.
Yeah.
That specialized in that particular thing. And they'd get them invested into blue chips like IBM and, you know, whatever companies were big in, like, the 80s. And then they would eventually start to sell them the crap.
And make all the money.
And then they would boost the price up, and then I don't know if they had initially purchased like a big bag of those and kind of did the same scheme that we had just mentioned, but you could do that.
Damn. What?
Yeah.
No, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and then I think that was the base for Stratton Oakmont. So
more than likely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't think of it as more or less in a formal matter where it's a whole business or a company trying to create these pump and dumps.
Mm-hmm.
but I was just more or less looking at it as a one-person party going into this. But
Sure.
it makes more sense to be illegal if it's a standardized party.
Because, I mean, that's what, like, the SEC is supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, outside of suing companies that, you know, they shouldn't be.
Pain. Well, speaking about ISO 222,
Yeah.
Algo, XRP,
It's compliance.
Yes.
That's what he's trying to say.
yes.
Yeah.
Both compliant.
Yeah, both are compliant, and I think after Algorand, all we have is XLM, and then that's going to round out the ISO
ISOs,
coins.
yes.
Or at least the baseline videos for the ISO coins.
Yep.
The more in-depth videos will come shortly after.
They have a wide range of partnerships, but their majority of them are international. I didn't see anything that crossed my eye that I knew of right out the gates, but it is a lot of venture capital firms, tech companies, and financial services all across the world.
Yeah.
And one thing that we were able to come across was that they are big in the medical space.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're actually partnered with VitalPass. And VitalPass is big in Latin America, and you would use VitalPass to show your digital vaccine passport for COVID.
Yes, COVID.
I'll probably end up censoring that because I don't know if the algorithm is gonna be like, you said a naughty word.
You said a disease.
Yeah, you said a global pandemic. But that is one sort of niche use case for it right now, because they're also partnered with Davinda, Auna, Koiben X.
Foreigners. It's all foreign. It's all foreign trade, to be honest.
I think it's more of just like the Latin sort of medical field right now. But they're also partnered with MAPay, which they've launched a stablecoin on Algorand's network that's specifically like focused on healthcare tech, which is pretty cool. And also Verita, which is a decentralized app that allows users to control how their data is used and shared. So I guess sort of like a privacy type of thing.
That's really cool about the MAPay, because if they created their own coin on Algo's network, which is carbon neutral, they're able to source liquidity through them having their own coin on Algo's network, not even having to worry about fees.
Yeah.
And it just creates a lot more. It creates a lot more capital to work with.
Yeah.
Find out or to solve the problems that need solutions.
Yeah, I think that's sort of their main play here, because that infograph is going to be up here. Before we had mentioned that XDC was going to be more of a business to business type of thing.
Yes.
Which it could still potentially be that, but I think it's more of a vehicle to build dApps onto. And that's why they had focused so like hardcore on making it as literally simple as possible,
Indestructible.
to build on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it won't fault and fail. It is known as the Ethereum killer.
Shout out to Bearable Bull for that connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a good one. But yeah, it's got a couple use cases right now, and I foresee it picking up as time goes on and more people start to figure out that, like, hey, we're a particular company that does a particular thing. Maybe their niche is medical, or it could be automotive or whatever, and they're going to start to branch out into their particular coin that's going to be more suited for their use case.
Yeah. I mean, technically all the coins are suited, but each of these ISO 20022 coins have their own benefits.
They have their own ecosystem.
Yes, yeah.
So what they're more custom tailored to.
Yes.
Like, for instance, like, you wouldn't buy, like, a Corvette to go off-roading. No, you'd buy, like, a Tacoma.
A Jeep. Yeah.
Or a Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because they're all cars.
Yeah.
They all do the same basic tasks.
Yes.
It's actually pretty
A
decent
great
breakdown of that.
representation.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you wouldn't want to take a Jeep to a racetrack. You would want to take the Vet.
Unless it's got like a V12 engine in it.
It's got a Hellcat swap. That thing would be wild.
Oh God.
Oh, that'd be terrifying.
So Algo's, it's really interesting because we were able to come across Algorand is compatible with Ethereum, and in February On the 17th of 2022 this year, Algorand Foundation announced a $10 million grant to Applied Blockchain to develop the London Bridge, a trustless bridge that will bring Ethereum compatibility to the Algorand blockchain. And with that being said, Algorand has struggled to attract liquidity to its ecosystem, as we kind of have seen with its ICO basically failing in ways. But despite that, promising low-cost transactions, low latency, and high scalability, having a bridge to Ethereum, which currently has the most robust DApp ecosystem, would allow Algorand to connect to these applications and attract a lot more liquidity.
Yeah.
And that would help Ethereum immensely, considering the amount of fees that goes through that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars of fees, I'd imagine, each day.
And not...
being sustainable.
Yeah, not being sustainable, but also not... What's the word I'm looking for? It's... without a guarantee of the transaction going through.
Yeah.
Like, when I send a transaction via XRP or HBAR, like, literally any of these other tokens, I know for sure my money is going to get from point A to point B. There is a flat gas fee, for the most part, that usually never changes, or if it does, it's like... It's quarters of pennies. Like, literally not even noticeable. But when I send an Ethereum transaction, I'm sitting there literally sweating for like 15 minutes waiting for this dang thing to go through.
You're refreshing the Etherscan page.
You're on...
It completes.
Exactly, you're on ETHScan and you're basically like the meme of the guy with like 17 hands and like a towels all over him.
Drenched in sweat because you need this transaction to go through.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Algo's...
I don't know how people do it, Tate. Like,
no.
I've only had to do a couple transactions on it. Every time I'm like, oh, why?
See, I was about to refer to say you had like a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk and you sold that and you made six figures off of that NFT, and then you go to want to transfer this Ethereum to an exchange where you're able to sell the Ethereum to make the US dollar or whatever currency you're working with, bring to your bank. But with those transactions, because how much money is in that transaction, this process is sped up for them specifically because they're dealing with more liquidity. But I was trying to refer like one of those transactions to having a higher chance of getting being like taking a longer time, but it wouldn't because it has more money being worked with. I was trying to relate that to a slower amount, but
the thing though with that is I think the price of the gas can also scale with the price of the transaction.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately would make sense from a proof of work blockchain to model it after that, because if you're moving $1 million, they can afford
a couple thousand in fees.
Yeah, or more so than an average Joe trying to send $100 worth of Ethereum to his
trust wallet, so he can buy
something.
some, NFTs.
On Ethereum? Why would you do that?
Because people are delusional. They see what works and they just go with it. They see what everybody's migrating to, but they need to follow the other roads.
I think it's also sort of like a media and hype thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's all over the media.
Yeah, and I think the infrastructure for it is the most built out, because I think the next closest thing would probably be Solana.
Yeah, no, it is. Solana is already being integrated to exchanges like OpenSea and stuff.
Oh, didn't know that. Okay, cool.
They're working on actually getting some NFTs brought into OpenSea's network.
Yeah. So another unsustainable blockchain is
unfortunately
being migrated into.
Unfortunately. But I think Algo being compatible with Ethereum will help immensely, just to obviously stifle the gas fees, bring them down an insane amount, as well as speed up the whole entire process of the ecosystem. Yeah,
and having Ethereum be interoperable with all of these other more efficient tokens is, at the end of the day, good for everybody.
Yeah.
Because we can talk crap about Ethereum all day.
Yeah.
But it's still the number 2. It's still the number 2 blockchain for now, until people wake up and finally
Until people wake up and see it's going to be number one.
Yeah, I mean, Ethereum does have that possibility. But this is a video on Algorand, not Ethereum.
I just promoted Ethereum to number one spot on the crypto market. That's a shame.
I think it will. That's not a shame.
It is. I mean, if they have this... I mean, this came out this year. That's a crazy thing. So
yeah, and it's just a grant, too. It's not like officially rolled out yet.
Yeah, it's just testnet, more or less.
I like the name of that, too. The London Bridge. Kind of reminds me of that one Fergie song. London, Fergie. Down like London. Okay, anyway. It's got that weird, like, horn, like, sample in the background.
Oh.
Dun, dun. Anyway.
In the long term, the Algorand Foundation aims to have verification of other chains be performed on Algorand smart contracts by incorporating state proofs in the form of compact certificates into the Algorand consensus. The Foundation's goal is to eventually solidify the DeFi ecosystem on Algorand. That would bring an insane amount of liquidity to the space.
Yeah.
Or to its token, so we hopefully one day can see a new all-time high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think liquidity is a big thing that Algorand needs right now because it is proof of stake.
Yes.
So that while that does help with the liquidity situation, at the end of the day, if you don't have people making transactions on it on a regular basis, it doesn't really matter that much.
1 million transactions a day, though.
Yeah, no, and that's great.
Yeah.
But, it's still a fairly new token.
Yes.
I mean, it's only, 2 years old?
2019.
Barely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Almost 3, actually. Coming up on 3. June of 2019.
Oh, yeah, it's 2022.
Time flies when you're having fun in the crypto space.
I stopped paying attention after, 2010.
You kind of age.
Yeah.
The crypto space ages you.
Yeah, this is true, because everything happens so quickly. All the time.
And so abruptly.
Every time I'm on crypto Twitter, it's like, oh, new development in this space, or new token, and I'm like...
When will it end?
Yeah.
When will regulations come? When can we not see a Shiba Inu anymore?
When will Gary release Brad?
I love how on Twitter, though, every time Gary tweets, Johnny Dean's right after him.
Yeah.
And his tweet gets 3 times the amount of likes Gary's ever will.
Yep.
It's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the SEC are doing back at their houses looking at that Twitter page.
Yeah, the other thing I like watching too is pretty much every time that Elon will post something, David will post right after on as a thread. The Schwartz himself.
Yes.
But yes. Yeah, Algorand is positioned to be a pretty cool token, and its price action's a little weird too, because it's not like XRP, which kind of follows the price of Bitcoin. They
all in their own ways do.
Yeah,
you relatively see them the same. You relatively see the same charts. Technically Algo really doesn't follow it because they had the ICO and stuff, and it's a very new token.
Yeah,
but those tokens who's been around for 5-10 plus years or since the beginning, those pretty much scale up in the same ways as Bitcoin has grown.
Sure.
And yeah.
Makes sense.
One thing about this to just cut everything off. I mean, Algo's certified. That's it.
Certified.
It's certified. Classic. It's got that blue check mark right next to it that you get on Twitter or IG.
Oh, they are?
No, not necessarily. No, I'm just saying that as in they're ISO 200 compliant.
I see.
That's my certified.
Okay.
Long term, that's really what matters the most.
Yeah. And I'll have that other chart of how all of the ISO tokens interop with each other. And then you can kind of see where it stacks up in the ISO coins.
Yeah. But with that being said, this has been the Alt Kings podcast.
Wow.
Thank you all for tuning in.
Yep.
Get us to 1,000 subs and we have a major giveaway.
Indeed.
I can't even lie. It's going to be pretty crazy.
It's going to be massive.
Physical items, digital items.
It's going to be across multiple blockchains.
Digital assets?
What is this, VSES? But yeah, we're 90 subs away roughly.
Yeah, about 91.
91 subs away. There's still
2 days.
2 days left.
Yeah, actually 30th and 31st.
If possible.
You getting this out tonight, maybe?
Yeah, so I'm going to get this out tonight. I'm going to release it at 10 a.m.
So technically, once they're watching this, there will be about 1.5 days left. Tell your moms, tell your dads, tell your grandmas.
What I might do is I might release the Spotify version just whenever I get it out, probably at some ungodly hour, like 4 a.m. or something like that. Because, I mean, like...
So our 3 viewers on Spotify can just tune in real quick on their morning runs.
Vicente's on the treadmill like, yes, more. He's going to be so happy that we got 2 mics now.
Yeah.
Now I got to figure out how to mix these properly.
We're actually starting to look a lot more professional.
Yeah.
We'll have a blue screen eventually, so we'll be in space when we do all this.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll have the crown rotating in the back. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll have seen the crown. It spins.
It's potentially soon to be our first ever NFT, if we're able to make that happen. I think we will, but we have a lot of different ideas down the road.
Yeah, we got to figure out more than just that. Like
that's a given.
Yeah, we got to figure out either are we going to do variations of it, or are we going to do some sort of a separate thing.
Get us to 10K subs and then we'll talk about that.
Ooh, 10K.
I think we'll hit that end of year. What is this?
That's the end of year goal?
Yeah, March 29, 2022.
All Kings Bull Run to win.
We are about 9 months away from end of year. If we can hit 1,000 subs in 2 months, I think we can hit 10K in 9 months.
Yeah, because at some point the algorithm is actually going to start
Favoring
really start ramping us up.
Yeah.
So, and then we can start to expand into more blockchains too. We can keep expanding XRP and HBAR, but we can also maybe hop onto Sol a little bit, get a little zesty action over there. Maybe
got me queasing inside.
Oh no, I didn't even mention Ethereum.
That's what I was about to prefer Ethereum over Sol initially.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, this has been the All Kings podcast. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you have a great day.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Bingo! Bing bong! Bing bong!
Bing bang!